All good? Yeah? Everyone's on the file? Cool. So, hi guys, how's everyone? Good, good. Yeah, okay. So thanks for coming to week 2 lecture. Sorry about the late start. There was just some technical difficulties, but today we'll be talking about additional tools and critique. So here's the attendance form. It's the same form as last time, but we'll give you the secret code at the end if everyone wants to copy it down. Or it should be on your lecture slide, so you can come back to it later. So we're going to start with the pencil tool. So the pencil tool is used to freehand draw in Figma. Figma applies a smoothing effect on the drawn lines once the user has stopped drawing, and then corners get rounded by default. So it's a really efficient tool. It's located in the drop-down menu under the pen tool and the drawing tools. And then if you want a shortcut to it, it's Shift P. How do you use it? It's mainly used for rough sketching or note taking. So sort of when you're in your lo-fi wireframes and when you're just starting to think out your designs, that's usually when people use it. And it can be used with a tablet or Apple Pencil for better control. You can still do it on your laptop. It might just be a little harder. And then the default line is always going to be in one and in black or white, and it can be changed by your own settings. Next, we have commenting. So commenting was used, or they came up with it to create and respond to feedback. As you guys know, Figma is primarily for collaboration. So this tool is like really nice when you're all on different files, different places, and you're trying to work together. So users can comment on files and prototypes. They can add a collaborator, reply, resolve, delete comments, and edit its content and location. So to make a comment, you can enter comment mode, which is accessed by clicking the comment icon in your toolbar. And then the shortcut is, again, just clicking C. And then once in comment mode, users are unable to make changes until you exit the comment mode. And again, commenting is just a huge part of Figma's collaboration, and it just helps you always keep track of critiques that you're giving your team and your team is giving you. So on the next slide, you can kind of just see what it looks like when you're leaving comments, and you'll get to do that with your labs this week. You can also click and drag them. There's docking comments and hovering and reacting, just so you can do things efficiently as you're moving along your file. And next slide, you can just see some examples of what all of those look like. And then exporting. So designs can be exported from Figma in various different mediums, so PNG, JPG, SVG, and PDF. So Figma has several customizable settings for exporting assets, and it just enables the user to define what they want exported. And you can do this in your right-hand toolbar. So remember last time when we were talking about like where you can design and edit your file, at the very bottom, whenever you click a frame, an export option will pop up for you. And then a shortcut is Control or Command, depending on your laptop, Shift E. And then when you click that, it'll give you further options like if you want a PDF or if you want an SVG. And then here, there's also the different file types, and it's can be applicable to whatever you're looking for. So PNG is a bitmap image format, so image quality won't be reduced when it's compressed and it's downloaded for you. JPG is pixel-based, so it means smaller file sizes, but it will reduce the image quality. And then SVG is a scalable vector graphic, so a vector image uses geometric forms to represent different parts of the image. Next up, we have typography. So typography and design, mostly everything we read integrates typographic design for ease of accessibility, as well as digestion of text. So the typography evokes the personality and character of a website, and it often expresses emotion through its characteristics. Sometimes you'll never even really notice these things when you're going through the sites or when you're going and looking at ads, but they really do have a big impact on how you interpret whatever text you're looking at. So here are some examples. And then typeface versus font. So a typeface is a set of characters that makes up a collection of fonts. So Times New Roman is a typeface. And then within Times New Roman, there's Times New Roman Italic, for example, which is a font. So fonts take on a specific style of the typeface. And you'll find that once you really start working in these files and you're trying to make small edits, just choosing within one specific typeface will really make a difference for your file, your design, whatever you're working with. And then here we have this exact example. So serif versus sans serif. So for example, serifs are the small lines attached to letters, and then it differentiates itself from sans serif. So sans serif is straight, and then serif has the little bend on the corner, which is a really nice detail to look for when you're really like going further within your designs. So here's some examples, like Berkeley uses serif, LinkedIn uses sans serif, a bunch of different examples. Vogue, and then modern country. You'll really see like you'll be able to notice like certain fonts, and you'll be able to tie them into specific messages because of how the brands are framing them and how the messaging that they're sending. And fonts are a really smart way to make those small details within your designs. And then hierarchy of fonts. So establishing visual hierarchy within typefaces is crucial to create visual interest and establish information hierarchy. So an example, you can see like the headline is the biggest thing on the page, right? And then as it gets smaller and information starts growing, it gets smaller and smaller. And it's just a really good way to like capture your attention. So the headline is the first thing you'll see and it'll draw your attention in. And then obviously it gets smaller, but that's for spacing as well. But it like draws you in and then keeps you there as you go through the design. So combining appropriate typefaces together can create a smooth and accessible experience for the reader. Mixing and matching fonts. So generally speaking, simple is better is usually what designers will go for, but using too many different fonts can result in sort of a misleading design. It'll be really hard to like keep a viewer's attention as you're going through the design if you're using too many different fonts. But a contrast of fonts can help with establishing a hierarchy. So pairing titles in sans serif and body text in serif, for example, will help distinguish and categorize information. Grouping fonts by similarity works as well. So pairing is about balancing similarity and difference. And then we can also even go even smaller and more specific within fonts and look at the weight of fonts. So it's really super useful to pick a font that has a lot of weights for more freedom in establishing visual hierarchy. So usually thicker fonts work better on darker backgrounds and vice versa, because that's how you'll contrast the background color or the space within your design. Type and identity. So the specific style and choice of a typeface can also dictate the emotions and values of a brand's identity. So for example, in the example that's above in the lecture slide, the combination of large size serif and sans serif fonts suggest originality and innovation while maintaining a minimalist personality. And then you guys will get to explore this as well when you're deciding sort of the theme of whatever your design is and seeing how the font that you choose sort of expresses the message that you're trying to convey. And in comparison, this sporadic mix of colorful, bolded, and underlined typefaces can be interpreted as this disorienting and chaotic emotions tied to the brand's shopping experience. So as you can see in this slide, it's like really like hard to like draw your attention to anything because everything is like super bright and like super like disorganized and everything, and you don't even know what to look at. You might as well just move on to the next slide, right? And then external tools within typography. So this is a way for you guys to, when you're working on your designs, if you want to find out like a certain vibe for your brand or anything that you're working on, Typewolf is a typography blog website for finding what is trending in typography. So you can seek out tons of different type guides and resources for yourself. This is just one that we found works really well. Adobe Fonts as well contains a huge selection of fonts and font packs, and it's easily accessible within the Creative Cloud programs, which you guys all have access to as Berkeley students. So make sure to take advantage of that. My Fonts is the largest collection of fonts on the web, and then you can browse fonts for inspiration. I low-key didn't know this, but you're supposed to, or like your laptop won't have all the fonts in the world, right? And you can go download these. I don't know, maybe some of y'all know that, but I didn't know that. And you can download them and then use them within your files. So pretty cool. Any questions so far? Any comments? Anything you guys want to contribute? Favorite font? I'm basic. I like Times New Roman. But within like Figma, look, I don't use Times. I use like Helvetica New. I think it looks really nice. Any favorite fonts in here? Anyone who wants to advocate for a font? No? Cool. Move on. Color. So color in design. Colors are used to attract attention, evoke emotion and meaning, and then organize similar elements and add a strong aesthetic for usability. So wide variety of color use and application is apparent in aspects of everything we interact with. So for example, red is an emotionally intense color. It compels passion and action. It pushes us to watch that next Netflix episode or pay attention to signs on the road. So What are some examples of things that you could pop up into your mind that are branded as red? Anyone? McDonald's? Okay, nice, nice. YouTube. YouTube, yeah. In my head, I think like exiting a page is always red, right? So you're leaving it. What'd you say? Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola, yeah. I actually have a Coke addiction. Coca-Cola addiction. Yeah. I'm working on it though. Whoa, that sounded really bad. I'm sorry. But yeah, Netflix, Tinder, the stop sign, CNN, all of these are like really eye-catching things, and like you remember that because it's like it's just such a bright color. Yeah. Blue is a reliable and calming color. It's more neutral than red. It easily establishes trust and reliability with users. So companies that handle your money or your information, they'll probably want to use blue. So what's something you guys can think of? What's a brand that's blue in its nature? Dropbox. Okay. Wow, that was not where my mind went.
Twitter before it became X.
Yeah, RIP, RIP. I still have you noticed if you type in Twitter on your phone, like X will pop up. Like Apple hasn't changed that. It's really cool. Yeah. Anyone else? No. So yeah, like Facebook, like Twitter, like Dropbox, banking. I feel like a lot of banks use blue. Um, Messages, yeah. Green is a peaceful and healing color, so it's associated with the environment and nature, fresh ingredients you drink in your food, and then refreshing music playlists you play on shuffle. Those things will be green. Anything you guys can think of that's green? Spotify. Spotify. Yeah. I look, can't think of something green. Matcha. Okay. What's everyone's favorite matcha place? What's your favorite matcha place?
Um, well, I just tried matcha today, but I think Binge is better. Yeah.
Does everyone agree? Does everyone agree? Yeah, yeah. I don't like
So I guess
matcha.
matcha. I mean, Binge is like number one's favorite, I guess.
What's their branding? What's the color?
Green.
It's green. That's why. That's why. Yeah. So Starbucks. Oh, who would think of Starbucks? Spotify, yeah. And then yellow is a vibrant and creative color, so it competes for your attention, and it's sort of feelings of happiness, optimism. It usually proves to be a trendy color as well. And example is IKEA. I was thinking of butter, but yeah. Black is a formal and sophisticated color, so tells the audience, yes, I am professional and appropriate. Trust me. So there's level of intrigue and elegance that makes black a reliable and powerful color to abide by. I actually find that when I'm like making designs, I try to avoid using black as the text because it seems too like boring or like it seems too like formal sometimes. So what do you guys, yeah. Chanel, Apple, Uber. Yeah. So here's a little breakdown of all the different colors. It's sort of like a general idea, but like when you're working through your designs, you'll find that like you'll kind of come up with your own opinions, but also like you'll see yourself gravitating to certain colors for like certain things that you're building. So it's really interesting. And then color on the internet. So you likely won't pay much attention to a website that balances colors really well, but you'll notice a website that doesn't use color effectively, likely because you're going to spend so much time trying to like understand what you're looking at without like subconsciously, of course, that you'll be like, well, what's going on, you know? And then there's different components of a color, of course. So there's the hue, which is what the color is. So blue, red, green. The value, so how bright a color is. And then the saturation, which is how intense a color is. So these are all things that you can edit within Figma. So whenever you're on the design bar on the right, and then you're trying to choose a color. For let's say you click fill and you're on the color, trying to edit a file's color, you'll see that you'll get to mess with the saturation, the value, and the hue, all of these things. And it's little things make big differences, is basically the message of this whole lecture. And then color picker. So the color picker allows you to apply color to fill, stroke, and vector objects. And it can be used to apply fills, ingredients, and color, hue, saturation, or opacity of a color. Again, it's on the right sidebar after applying a fill or a stroke to a layer. And then as many functions, and after you open it up, you can select a paint type, apply blend modes. There's also like a gradient option, and then you can mess with that as well. And yeah, select colors using the color palette. You can use the eyedropper tool, so you can go into anywhere in your file and find that exact color that you use somewhere else in your design and bring it back over. And yeah, there's all these different options in the next slide, as you can see. There's also like you can copy and paste the exact like color code, and you can edit that and type it manually within Figma. So next to the hex, if you can see in the slide right there, you can edit that number as you wish. And then external tools within color. So Coolers is a popular website to explore, use, and generate color palettes. So whenever you're working in a file, it's really effective to like establish a color palette before you like go through everything, and then you can always like refer back to that color palette and sort of just work on your file and make sure everything is cohesive. Dribble is a platform that creatives use to share their work, and they have an excellent selection of color palettes to choose from. And yeah, any questions so far with color? How about everyone go to Figma right now and then just like make a file and come up with a cool color gradient. A color that matches your personality, but like make it creative. Like don't just choose a single color. And you're gonna show the person beside you. I'll give you guys 5 minutes.
Are you my students or no?
It's Figma like education. But I pretty much know this.
So is it find them?
So we kind of go into project. Oh wait, go into it. You're logged in with your recruiting card.
Yeah. No, because there are 2 free page.
You might have to like activate it.
This is here on the free plan.
You have to make sure you upgrade to an education phone.
Yeah, it's like, I just don't know how to do that.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, yeah. That's fine.
I'm gonna walk around and judge all of you guys now. So it's boring, I'm gonna tell you. I'm just I'm stealing. Yes, that's nice, that's nice. Would you say you're woodsy? I'm trying to match the autonomous. I like that. Eating you up over here, guys. So. Did you say you're an introvert?
Yeah.
See how I knew?
Gotta make sure that she did.
Edges of a.
Thank you.
Okay, so I think it's in the info gallery. Oh, great. It's great. It is. Oh, like the ingredient colors? You probably had it in. That makes sense.
I looked at a bunch of places ever.
No, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
These jobs are so brilliant. Wash yourselves.
No, I do. Nice, solid color. Is it lame? No. Oh, it's fire.
How are these related or are they different? Is one
This
one
is
year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is like Patrick.
It's a random star. Oh, literally for this hand. Oh, is that how you feel? Oh. Love that. Cool. That would be cool too. I hope that was super fun. And we'll just continue now. And styles. So creating styles. So styles allow users to define a set of properties for an object that can be reused across designs. So styles are used to save custom preferences. So within your file, you can create a style that like others can access, and then it'll always reset to that whenever you click type or whenever you put in a color. It always start off with the style that you chose. Styles can be created for paints, text, effects, and layout grids, but we'll focus on the color and text. So color styles, they can be applied to fills, strokes, backgrounds, text, images, and gradients. So to create a color style, you select the object that you're creating a style for. So that could be the rectangle that you made or anything like that. And then you click the 4 dots next to the property to save it. So that'll be on your design panel. And then click the plus icon in the color styles panel. And then you add a name and description. And then you can click create style. And then it'll always be there for you to access whenever you go back and you try to change the color of something. This is pretty similar to the text style, so it can be applied to an entire block of text or a sub portion of text. So users can then define styles of headers, body text, and any extra styles. But note that text alignment cannot be set by a text style. So to create a text style, you select the text you want to create a style for, click the 4 dots in your design panel, and then click the plus icon and name and describe it. And then now we'll be moving into critique and why critique is so important within design. So a common misconception is that critiques include giving critique. About critique is that giving critique is harsh or mean, or that it undermines someone's abilities, and giving effective critique is difficult. But in actuality, critique is the best thing you could offer somebody, and it's not a daunting process, but actually a very informative and a beneficial process. So using the commenting tool is a really popular way that users in Figma give critique when collaborating with others on a project. So what we encourage in our Figma decal is using the sandwich method. So you provide an initial positive feedback, so something that you liked about someone else's design. You follow up with a considerate but maybe constructive criticism, and then you close with a positive feedback. And then negative feedback should not be directly rude, but rather beneficial and improvement oriented. So right now, you guys can go to look to your neighbor and try the sandwich method with the color design that they made. I'll just give you guys another 5 minutes.
Okay. Thank you.
But maybe there could be some yes. But I love the consistency. Period. Period. Thanks. Wait. We didn't do the secret word yet.
Really like.
Okay, let's come back now. And then now that you guys have all done it, I'll give you a bad example of the sandwich. So your positive would be, I think this logo looks pretty good. And then your negative is, but I'm not a huge fan of the colors you chose. And then positive, overall it's super creative and the ice cream cone is cool. What's the issue with that? If anyone can tell me. You wanna go?
It's a little vague, and I feel like especially if you're trying to say something negative, like I'm not a huge fan of the colors you choose, it might be helpful to like explain why they're not good colors and maybe like suggest better a better color palette.
Exactly. And now the good example. The positive, this is great. I love the contrast between the colors and the beige. The colors really pop, and then what made you choose them? And then the negative is I recommend staying consistent with the typefaces. The sans serif C's look a bit awkward when the remaining letters are serif. And then the ending positive, but overall, I think the design matches the playfulness of the brand, and the little details in the drops are a nice touch. Whenever you're giving critique, the person should always walk away feeling like they've learned something from what you're telling them. And then bad feedback is vague, often unspecific, like you were saying, and results in confusion between both parties, and it prevents improvement upon specific aspects of a work. Whereas good feedback is referring to a specific aspect of the work's result and then asking questions about a work, which encourages more open conversation and can bring up more things that both parties can work on improving. And yeah. To wrap up, just announcements and assignments. So this week's homework, or also if anyone had any questions about last week's homework, feel free to, I'll give you guys time now, or we can also come up to me afterwards. Yeah.
Is it just graded on completion?
It's graded on completion, but it's also like if you submit a file that's empty, I'm gonna have to give it a 0, you know? But yeah, it's like do the best that you can. Yeah. This is like a learning thing. It's not like meant to be like it's pass or fail. So and then this week's homework is brand design system. So you'll create your own version of the file, make a copy of it, and then in your labs, your TAs will explain the homework further. And then lab two critique. The first lab is up as well, but you don't have to look at that now. If you'd like to go through it earlier, you can. And your TAs will go through it on Thursday in person. And the secret word is Malatang. Malatang? Should I do something else? Malatang. Sorry, I'm hungry. And yeah, anything that you guys think the rest of the class should hear, feel free to bring it up now. But if not, class is over. Oh, do you want the attendance link? It's the same as last time, but if you want it, it's here. We just let me stop recording.